There was a death flag in this chapter. I don't know how to feel about that. Because this is the first time we've really gotten a death flag like this in Boku no Hero Academia. We know All Might has a death flag. We know he's gonna die. That's a different case entirely. Todoroki got a death flag. And we know something happens, because let's travel back in time. When this arc kind of first started, when Ida went on his own path to want to get vengeance, you had to where Izuku, he stated like he wished he would have stopped him at that time. He would have stopped Ida from going off and going down that path. He wished he would have done something. And it was a narration from the future from Izuku saying something happened. And so we know something is going to happen to where it makes Izuku regret what happens and transpires in this fight. So far from what we have seen, so far, there's nothing that has happened to where it's something you should really regret, like, so much regret. Like, you know, drags you down. And the way that was done, it was very ominous. It was something that, you know, had to happen that really made Izuku regret his decisions. Because right now, there's still that chance that Ida's going to go down the good path after being, you know, there. We get to see Todoroki and Izuku, you know, standing up for him, protecting him, and different things like that. It's still all good and well. It's nothing so far that's transpired that could be regrettable. And so, the death flag that happened in this, it seems very obvious, but very subtle. Let me explain. I don't know how many of you realize this, or actually thought about this. In the chapter, Todoroki, he uses fire and ice, and ever since his introduction as a character, we know Todoroki, he had this issue with his father and mother. He had parent issues, and the parent issues he had was because his mother left a scar on his face because of his father, what his father did. His father didn't even think about his son as a son, just fought him as a tool to best All Might, and it continues to go down of how fucked up his father is in Endeavor. And so to see what type of situation Todoroki was in, that was like the main drive for his character in the entire match, you know, the tournament arc we had. And then to see how he went to his mother, talked with her, accepted what happened, and then is trying to learn from his father now. Even though he hates his father, he's still gonna suck it up and try to learn from his father because his father knows his shit about, you know, heroing. He goes there. And after seeing the chapter, there's one main crucial point you want to really acknowledge when it comes to this. It's that Todoroki has hit a brick wall. He has hit a brick wall when it comes to his character. If you don't understand, I'm about to explain. See, the entire drive for Todoroki as a character was because his father was an asshole and he wanted to use his own power to overcome that. He wanted to become a good hero just using one of his sides, but eventually, after having a battle with Izuku and coming to terms with his fire side, he started using both sides. And we get to see that displayed throughout this entire chapter as he uses fire and ice to protect, you know, Ida and Izuku and the other hero. And you see how he's come to this form of acceptance over his parents of what has transpired in the past. He realizes it's his own power. And because of the development he has gotten thanks to his mother and father and what Izuku did to put him down this path, he has hit a brick wall. There's no more, so to say, room for his development, actually, at the moment, from what I can see. Because what all his character stood for and stands for has been complete after witnessing this chapter. See, it's like kind of what happened with Gaara. If we think about Naruto, I'm just going to use Naruto as an example. Let's say, you know, Gaara, after, you know, the second part when he got captured by Akatsuki, I'm not going to spoil nothing, but you know how he got captured, and after the events of that, he came to terms with his village and stuff. That's kind of what's going on here. It's like he reached that pinnacle of his character where there's not really much more room for his development, so to say. And I'm curious about what is going to happen, because for him to reach this wall, it makes me assume with this death flag on top of him, his character is going to be used to progress Ida and Izuku in a different direction. Because there was a death flag. The way he was accomplished, and then the way Stain was acting when he was rushing him, and then, you know, still taking on the Fire and Ice side. Yes, we know pro heroes are coming to back up Izuku, Ida, and Todoroki, but we do know Stain is very dangerous. He hasn't used his full potential. We can tell he hasn't. He hasn't really probably been going all out. He's besting Todoroki's abilities like it's nothing. And, you know, Todoroki's abilities are pretty damn crazy. So I feel like the way that was done, death is coming. We'll see. We'll see. I could be wrong. At the end of the day, we gotta remember this is a shonen. But we'll see if Boku no Hero can take down a different route with its characters. Because I'm not, you know, a 10 out of 10 writer. I'm not even a writer. Like, I can't write manga. So I'm not gonna say I can. But if I was a writer, at the very least, if I hit a brick wall on my character like Todoroki, I'd probably use the character further to develop other characters. For instance, kill him off to begin development for Ida, Bakugo, and Izuku. That's where I would use if my character hit that in-game point. And it might also change Endeavor with his outlook of the way he looks at his own son. That's another possibility. But now getting past that, the chapter, in a nutshell, it is seeing more about Stain's abilities. His abilities is called Blood Clot, and the ability sounds very badass. I like the ability's name, and what we all theorize kind of comes to pass about how he used blood, he licks blood, like he has to orally ingest blood, the enemy's blood, or whoever he's fighting, to be able to paralyze them for a given time, up to 8 minutes, and depending on their blood type, you know, from B to AB to, let's say, you know, blood type 0 or whatever, or O, you have it to where they have lesser and lesser times to where they're paralyzed. And since, you know, Izuku, he's O-type, he doesn't get paralyzed as much, and he can get out of, you know, the quirk ability that Stain uses. And one thing I was very curious about with the way it was used, in the description of this blood clot ability that Stain has, we were given his blood type. And I wonder if Stain's ability works against him, because if we think about this, we have seen a lot of quirk users. For instance, you know, Ochako to Todoroki when he uses his eyesight. I mean, even, you know, Bakugo. There's many different examples, even, you know, Izuku, our main character. There's different examples to where quirk abilities have these negative repercussions when you use them too much. And since he mentions his blood type, since Stain mentions that, I wonder if his own ability can paralyze him for a given time, if there's a negative repercussion from constantly using his ability. Because we have seen many examples of foreshadowing how quirk abilities can fuck someone over, because there's negative side effects. So maybe that's going to be the way that maybe Izuku or Todoroki couldn't beat Stain, is because, like, a negative repercussion of his quirk affects him to where he has to run away. That is a possibility. But right now, I don't know where it's going to go, because there's a good chance that there could be a death next chapter, or 2 chapters from now. Or the ability is going to work against Stain, and he's going to have to run away. One or the other. Now, besides that chapter, that's pretty much it. It was a really, really, really good chapter. Artwork pretty damn good. You have it to where Ida makes a little bit of his character development, where he realizes how far he's gone down the path and changed his path. Like, he's no longer what his brother stood for, what he stood for. He realized that at the end of the chapter. And so this is a good turning point for Ida's character to develop into the hero status once again. But, depending on where Todoroki goes with what Stain does, this could also leave a negative effect. So, it's up in the air right now. It's up in the air. So tell me your thoughts in the comments below. How do you all feel about this week's chapter of Boku no Hero Academia? I love you all. Please be safe. Chibi out.